Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome to District 4 webinar series. My name is Hector Quartz. I'm your host and PRO, Public Relations Officer. And today our topic is how to plan and run a speech contest. Today, what we're going to learn, we'll basically learn about how you're going to plan it. And because it's the September season, the contest season, and we will learn from our distinguished Toastmaster and past area governor, Kurt Singh. I happened to attend his workshop last year, and I got great insights. It was really helpful when I had to organize my own area contest. I'm sure this webinar will be helpful to all of you, I'm sure. Now I will pass on this, I will hand over the control to Kurt, but it's a request to all of you, select @host and post your questions. Select @host and post your questions so that I will get the question and I will pass it over to Kurt during the session. And the duration of this webinar is 1 hour, just for your information. I'm passing the control on to Kurt, and let's see if we will be able to hear him. Can you please keep yourself, everyone? Great. It seems there is a technical difficulty, and Kurt, okay, let me just ask him, Kurt, can you please come on to conference call? Please dial in.
Hello, this is Kurt.
Awesome. Hi, Kurt.
Am I on the wide? I'm talking to everybody.
You're audible to me, at least. I'm assuming you're audible to everyone. Yes.
Maybe we can get somebody to quickly just send me a text message saying that they are able to hear me. Okay, thank you. I've got a confirmation. Awesome. Thank you. So welcome, everyone. Did you already? If you did. All right, I'll just get started. Thank you for joining this webinar. This is the very first time I've done something like this. This presentation is actually originally designed to be an interactive workshop. However, I've kind of adapted it for a webinar, and I'm hoping that you can enjoy it and you'll get something out of it for your contests. So the way we're going to run this is I will run through some slides for a little bit, and it's going to be everyone else will be on mute, and then we'll open up the lines for questions, and then I'll go back and get some more slide through. And we'll just do a couple of interactive sessions so people have questions to ask. If you want to post a message to the host, you can do so on the chat, and Deep will be passing those questions along to me as well. So how about we get started? All right, so the very first thing that I've got on here is the money slide. This is the most important thing done when you plan a contest. And I've made it very things are team, time, and turf. And I'll go into each one of those, what I mean by that. The first thing is your team, and there are 3 categories of team members that I've listed here, and of course this is not an exhaustive list. I'm hearing no background noise somehow. Sounds like somebody's not on mute. Is that you, Deep?
I'm not. I'm on mute, actually. I was on mute, yeah.
I can kind of hear that. That's okay. So I've split it out, and these are the things that you absolutely have to have in order to run a contest at the area or division level. And there are others. This is not an exhaustive list, but these are the most important things. Obviously, the contest chair, the chief judge, the toastmaster, and the facilities chair. And we'll go into some of these roles in later slides. And then I've got a list of should-haves. It's usually a good idea to have a recruitment chair. This person is the one who has to, the folks signed up. This is a challenging role for someone, especially at the area level where you have much more limited numbers of people that you're trying to find people to do stuff. And the registration chair is a really good idea to have. It's possible that the contest chair or the area governor can do this role. However, it's recommended that you have one specifically to do this. And then, of course, if you're having food, it's a really good idea to have a food chair as well. Again, we're going to go into some of these roles in more detail later on in the deck. And then there's some things that you don't have to have. In fact, some of these I would recommend you avoid at the area level, just to make things as simple as possible. The first thing is an opportunity drawing chair. I know that a lot of the agendas, the scripts that are out there include an opportunity drawing. My recommendation is to just strike that out of the script and don't do it at the area level. A photographer is nice to have, but it's not necessary. And of course, a joke master would be nice. If you've got somebody lined up to tell a joke before the contest starts, that'd be great. Otherwise, don't worry about it. And then the PR person is the one who actually will do a lot of the email notifications and such. Again, we're going to talk about that role a little bit later. So we've got the team down. Now let's talk about time. There are some rules about when you should have your contest. So the first thing is make it on a weeknight. Generally Monday through Thursday is a good idea. Evening, and avoid holidays. And I made this mistake one year. I actually planned a contest and I didn't know it, but the date landed on a Indian holiday. And a vast number of my clubs were Indian members, and they didn't show up because they were out celebrating. So even if you don't have it, if you think you know what the holidays are, just verify with some of your club members that the date is holiday free. And also, just don't, if you're in an area, make sure your areas don't conflict. If you have some people in the same area, try to keep the area contests in that division on different nights. And of course, the divisions really do need to be on different nights. The division governors know that they need to coordinate their dates as well. And finally, the most important thing is turf. This is where the contest is. And of course, the location is the important thing, but you also need to consider things like what facilities that location has, amenities, and security is a concern, especially if you're holding your contest at a corporation, a building. Some of those buildings require people to go through security, so it's important that you understand what those requirements are and make sure that your appropriate chair working with the security to get that through that. So again, like I said, the team, the time, and the turf, if you get those, nothing else from this webinar, those are the 3 things that you have to get right. Now I'd like to go in and talk a little bit about planning. Actually, before we do that, why don't we open up the lines, Deep, and take some questions.
Hi, Kurt. Actually, the lines are already open, and I'm not finding out the way to mute everyone. That's why we are hearing these noises.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you please check from your side, because now you are the presenter, if you can mute everyone else?
Well, let me see. Now, I know I had a mute option when we did the test on this, but I don't see it on here now.
Okay. So just my request is to everyone, basically, if you're not talking, please be on mute so that we will not hear any background noises.
Okay, so now I know. Yeah, I've got the mute here. So I think. Well, let's see. Is that mute me or you? Here's the others mute. I've got it here. Okay, everybody's open. So let's take the questions.
Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Then I'm not mute. Not on mute.
Yeah. No, I've got a mute option here. I can. I'll turn it back after the first round of questions here.
Awesome. So whoever is there, so please go ahead and ask questions.
Well, I have a quick question here. I arrived a little bit late. Do you have this presentation available for download anywhere?
Actually, I do. Not the deck here that you're looking at, but I've got an outline worksheet with all this information on it, and the very last slide I show you on this presentation will be a very simple link for you to go and download it from Box.
All right, thank you.
And just for your information, actually, I will make sure that the video is available to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions before I move on?
No.
Okay,
That I would like to add, Kurt, here. When I was ADAGONA last year, I selected a day when there was a Jewish holiday, and it was on Friday. So make sure that it is not on Friday evening, no holidays around, and people will not show up. Yeah, so make sure that. A good point there.
Yeah, some religions actually don't want to leave the house on Friday, so
right.
You're gonna alienate some of your membership. Very good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this line on mute this time, and when I come back up for air for the next round of questions, I'll unmute it. How about that? Very good. All right. So let's talk about, if I can advance my next slide here, planning. So we talked about date selection a little bit. Of course, that's very important to have that down as well. But look, if communication is also a critical thing, allow people to find the contest and to know about it, then that's going to be a problem. But it's also important to have the various chairs communicate with each other and make sure that all of the people know what they're supposed to do and are doing it. So I would recommend, as the contest chair, if that's your role, that you make sure that you know all of the emails and phone numbers for all of the major role players in the contest so that you can do an appropriate level of communication. Budgeting, we'll talk about that as well. It is important that at the area and division level that you zero balance at the end as best you can. There's no penalty for being short or over, but it is an objective of a nonprofit to make sure that we balance out at zero as close as we can. I know that area governors and division governors receive training on this, but we will actually talk a little bit about budgeting. I have a spreadsheet in the download area that you can use to help plan your budget for the contest. And of course, the logistics aspect of it as well. Just making sure that all of the people know where to go, what to do, coordinating with security, coordinating the food, making sure that the right people show up at the right time. That's all very critical. So let's talk about a couple of the roles first. The most important role is the contest chair. Some area governors for their first contests will take this role. Others will be fortunate enough to have someone else to take the role. The second bullet here is critical. It really, really is an important thing for your contest chair to at least have been somewhat experienced in contests, not necessarily in the role, but have at least been exposed to more than a few contests so that they have an expectation of what to do. Now, I actually ran a contest as area governor, and I got a contest chair who had never even been to a contest before, and it worked okay, but it was very critical for me to spend very close time with her to make sure that she knew what she was supposed to do, and she did a good job. But if you don't pick an experienced chair, make sure that you are prepared to spend some very good time with that person. The contest chair is the roles planner, so it's important that you understand that. You, of course, can have the recruitment chair there as a separate entity, but usually it's the contest chair that ends up finding all of the roles. There's a spreadsheet that also it's on the same download area that's going to help you find and track the various roles that you need for the contests. And we'll talk about that. The contest chair will take care of the budget. The spreadsheet that I'm going to share with you later is designed for you to come out with a zero balance, and you can figure out what your the number of members that are going to attend that are paying early bird rates, the late walk-in rates. You can calculate and project how much money you're going to have, which helps you figure out what your food budget is. Now, when you go to the D4TM.org website and you go to the area where they have the contest materials, and there's a link in this presentation that shows you where to go for that, you will find a contest script as well. The contest chair will customize this script. What I recommend is that you actually put the names of the players in the script itself, so that when the Toastmaster, for example, is introducing the chief judge, that the name of the chief judge is actually on the script, and they don't have to hesitate to figure out what the name of the actual chief judge is. And of course, it's the best contest that I've ever been a part of. The contest chair took the time to meet with each person that was playing a role and make sure they understood what their role was. So the roles and responsibilities of everyone was critical for a successful contest. Now, the chief judge, of course, is a very important role as well. And my recommendation is just tell the chief judge to stick to the script. Don't stray away from what's on the paper. It's okay to read it. Just make sure that they understand what the rule book is. They need to know what all the rules are. The chief judge, of course, makes the briefings with the contestants and with the judges and functionaries, and also collects the certifications from make sure that everybody's qualified to do the roles. All of the voting judges have to have at least 6 speeches to qualify for a judge role at the area and above levels. It is the chief judge's responsibility, at least in the contest that I've planned, to print and bring all the contest forms. Sometimes it's the contest chair, but you need to at least make sure everyone knows who that person is. I recommend the judge does it, but if the contest chair does it, just make sure everyone knows that's the person who's going to bring them. And of course, the chief judge does fill out the notification of winners so they can send that paper off to the next level up. I am going to unmute the presentation again and take more questions.
Yeah, this is David McLeod. I heard from another person who has done a lot of contests that the 6 speech requirement is only for the international speech contest. We don't have that same requirement for evaluation or humorous speech contest.
In this, that is correct, but I was actually talking about the judging requirements.
Yep.
So a judge now does need to have 6 manual speeches to be a judge at the area or division level.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, it is.
That is. Yeah, when did that rule come out?
I believe it's in the 2014 book.
Wow. Well, I guess we're going to have some problems then.
Would there be an exception for clubs that are newly chartered?
That's a good question. I'm not
There
sure if newly chartered clubs have to have meet that requirement. I'd have to look that up in the manual, but you'll have access to the 2014 rule book, and it'd be pretty easy to look that up as well. Good question, though. Any other questions?
Hi, Kurt. This is Aubrey Carrier in San Francisco. More of a technical thing, but the slides are not advancing for me. I'm still stuck on the one about how to pick a good date.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Anybody else having that problem?
It is moving for me, actually.
Yeah. Audrey, maybe if you close and reopen the link, it might free up again.
I will try that.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. I'm going to mute again, and we'll continue. Okay. The role of Toastmaster, of course, is also critical, and this is a formal role where this person's, before the contest starts, needs to spend the time with the contestants in the briefings. This person makes sure that the correct speaking order is selected. Normally that's done just by writing some numbers down on a piece of paper and having people select them, but I've seen people use playing cards and dice or whatever. That's fine. Whatever the method of selection is, it's okay. And then, of course, if the venue is using microphones, I always find it important for the contestants to have an option to use the microphone or not. Depends on the size and shape of the room, and also the voice level of the speaker. So it's a personal thing. Some speakers want the microphone, some will not. That's okay. Take note of which speakers want to use the microphones, give them an opportunity to practice with it before the meeting starts. If it's a lapel mic, make sure they know how to clip it on. We'll talk about that when we get to the Sergeant at Arms role as well. And then contest forms. Master will collect from each contestant the eligibility form. And if it's a humorous speech or an international speech contest, it's a good idea to collect the form that has the biography on it. I don't necessarily agree that you need the bio form for the evaluation contest. I don't think that's necessary. And we'll talk about that because the next thing is at the end of the contest, while the judges and ballot counters are out doing their job, there's an interview session, and each of the contestants asked 2 questions. And I put this on here because I've seen it where this can go, the interviews go on for 5 or 10 minutes, and that's just not good. So my recommendation is keep it just 2 questions. What club are you from, and how long have you been a Toastmaster? And then if it's the humorous speech contest or the international speech contest, you can ask 1 question from the bio. I would not recommend going beyond that. I think it's the people who are in the audience are not interested. I hate to say that, but they want to get to the winner, and everything that you do that slows down that announcement of the winner is more of a source of irritation than it is of entertainment. So that's just my personal preference. You can take or ignore that. Now, the Sergeant at Arms, make sure that he understands that he has to bring the banners, the timing light or the cards at the beginning of the meeting. He's going to call the meeting to order, and it's important that he specify at the beginning, ask people to turn off their cell phones, anything that makes noise. If it's a venue at a location where it's not obvious where the restrooms are, it's a good idea to point that out. And in the evaluation contest, he's the one who escorts the contestants out of the room and back into the room. I always ask the Sergeant at Arms to make sure that he knows how to handle microphones when the contestants want to use them, especially the lapel mics. This is kind of a sticky point for me because a lot of times when contestants get done speaking, as they're walking off the stage, they'll reach up and they'll pull the mic off, and it just makes a whole bunch of static noise. It's not professional. So the Sergeant at Arms should, when they put the mic on the person, it should be off. He should tell the person how to turn the mic on and just tell him to leave it on until he gets back to the back of the room where the Sergeant at Arms can turn it off and then remove the lapel mic. These are things that just help make the experience more enjoyable for everyone in the audience. Now, the registration chair. This is a pretty big role to do, and I want to just talk about a couple of tools that are available to the registration chair. So the first thing is, how do you collect the names of the people who are going to be attending? And in my experience, Wufoo works really well. I know there's other websites out there that you can use, but that's the one I've always used. And you can create your page and publish the link where people can go and sign up and say, I want this, that, or the other thing. So the things that you need to remember on the registration page is there's things you have to include, like where it is, when it is, the address, the actual address, how much it is there an early bird date, and whether or not dinner is going to be included. So that's info that you have to include. You also want to collect information from the registrant, and you'll ask for things like the name, the email, what role they're taking in the contest. And then there's some nice to have stuff like phone number, club name, meal preference, dignitary title if they're a dignitary, and maybe the role that they have. The registration chair is responsible for making sure that the attendees list is collected afterwards. So in Woof, if you use Woof, you have the ability to download to a spreadsheet all of the names, all the fields that you're collecting, and this is usually given to the contest chair and made sure that the other attendees or the other roles know who's going to be attending, what the roles are. I've always asked for, when we need to print name labels at the contest, this is the registration chair's responsibility. I always prefer to print them out on the printer beforehand if you know the registration list, and then make sure there's some available for walk-ins as well. It always looks better when they're printed, but it doesn't have to be that way. Rule of thumb is $30 and change. My recommendation is just have at least 20 ones there at the beginning of the contest. People are going to walk in and they're going to hand $10 bills and $20 bills, and if it costs $8, then you're going to be giving out a lot of singles. So make sure that you have at least enough change to manage the evening. The registration chair should also find at least one or two other people to help out, because working the registration desk when the people walk into the venue, there needs to be someone who's there to check them in, make sure that they are paying the correct sum of money. If they're an early bird, if they're a contestant, they don't pay anything at all. So the helpers are a critical part, and it's really important that not only the registration chair, but all of the helpers arrive as early as possible. You need to be there before the very first attendees walk in. And of course, after the contest starts, the registration chair has to account for all the money that's collected. I'm going to unmute the line again, and we can take some more questions. Just 1 second. The line's open.
Hi, this is Kevin Crossman from Sunnyvale. And with respect to the Toastmaster role, I know many times with 2 contests, there is a desire to have 2 different Toastmasters, one for each contest. And in a perfect world, I think that is helpful from an inclusion and participation standpoint. On the other hand, sometimes it's hard to find that second Toastmaster. What's your opinion about 1 or 2 and how much you should try or not try to get that second Toastmaster?
That's a really good question. I don't know if I have a preference. I think it's a good idea to have 2 if you can, but it's certainly not a requirement. And I've been to contests with both ways, and I don't think it matters either way. The one positive to having 2 Toastmasters is that you get more people experienced in the role, which of course is a good idea. If you have people that are trying to work towards their CL, they can get the credit in there in the manual for that. So maybe 2 would be better, but 1 is perfectly okay.
Thanks.
Good question. Anybody else?
Good. I have got a question. What is the best practice actually when you mention about Sergeant at Arms will open up the contest? So whether Sergeant at Arms should hand over the stage to Toastmaster or to the area governor or division governor?
Yeah, good question. The script actually has the order in there, and I would say just stick to the script. I think the Sergeant at Arms typically hands the contest over to the contest chair, and the contest chair introduces the Toastmaster. The division governor or area governor usually does not contribute to the script until the end when you're actually handing out the awards.
Okay, makes sense. And I would like to mention my own observation. I was registration chair multiple times last year. So if you have 25 attendees, like for 25 attendees, you need at least 1 volunteer at registration desk who will check in people, take money, and give out the labels or the badges in half an hour. So now you can do the math. So if you have 50 people, so minimum you need 2 volunteers there who are sitting there on the volunteers on the registration desk.
That's an excellent suggestion. Thank you for that. When we do contests at PayPal, which is where I work, we have security folks, and they take care of the name labels. So they basically, it's like an assembly line. The person will stand in line to get checked in on the registration form, make their payment, and then they walk over and get the name badge, or get the name badge first. And either way, but it's a kind of an assembly line kind of thing. But yeah, that's perfect. Good suggestion. Anybody else? Yeah, we're making good progress. I'm going to go back on presentation mode. All right. So let's talk about the facilities chair. Make sure that the location, the venue, is secured. Normally, what happens is the area governor or the division governor will secure, or at least get the facility identified, and then try to find a facilities chair. That's okay. But sometimes the facilities chair's responsibility is to actually find the location as well. Either way works fine. My preference is to know what the venue is, and then usually the facilities chair is somebody who works at that venue. because they're familiar with it. They know the contacts of the security folks and how to solve problems if there are issues with maybe chairs, tables, AV equipment, that sort of thing. So all those things are important, and you don't want the contest chair or other people who have other roles to be running around trying to find a microphone or whatever else happens to be missing for the setup. So this is kind of an important role up front. It doesn't have a huge contribution on the night of the contest, other than to make sure that everything is set up properly, and but it's still very critical. The food chair, of course, the contest chair will provide a budget to the food chair based on the projection of the number of attendees and how much the registration fee is. And based on that budget, food chair needs to go out and figure out how they're going to spend that money. The food chair will determine what the menu is, and honestly, it doesn't really even matter what the menu is, as long as it's a varied selection of food that can accommodate the tastes of the different attendees. It's important that you have at least some number of some amount of food that's available for people who are not meat eaters, and don't ignore the meat eaters either. I've been to contests where it was all vegetarian food, and I actually feel a little insulted when I don't have an option to eat meat, and I'm sure other people feel the same way. So you need to have both vegetarian and meat. And as far as logistics go, if the contest starts at 6:30, the food people should be there no later than 6, setting up their food line, making sure that all of the serving tools or whatever it is that needs to be there are there and prepared for the people to come through. I mentioned food line efficiency here because at the division level, when you have maybe between 70 and 120 guests, you really need to make sure that people can get through the line quickly so that they can get into the contest room. I've been to a contest where we had one table against a wall, and there was no logistical way for everyone to go through that line and get into the contest room before the contest started. So if you are expecting a large group, it's a good idea to set up 2 sets of tables, or maybe allow people to walk on both sides of the tables to serve more people as efficiently as possible. The food chair is also responsible for cleanup. The definition of cleanup can be different based on the venue. You might speak with the facilities chair to see what the expectations are from the place where the contest is being held. And of course, the food chair really needs to have some helpers as well, to set up, to get the cleanup as well, and to be there if there's things like forks, napkins, whatever that need to be retrieved. That's a very important part of it. Okay, the public relations. This is a nice to have option. If you don't have a public relations person, it's usually going to be the contest chair or the area governor or division governor. But here's a couple of resources that are available to you. I suggest you post your contest on the D4TM.org website. There's a place up there you can go to publish your contest information, and you should also put your WUFU link, your registration link, on there. Meetup.com, the District 4 has their own meetup group, and this is a good place to post your contest information. Also, if you're an area governor, it's a good idea to personally visit your clubs and let them know about the area contest. Email campaigns, flyers. This person's also going to be sure that the agendas are printed and available at the registration desk. And this one will also print the certificates of participation to be handed out to the volunteers. So this person's going to need the list of the volunteers as well. All right, I'm going to unmute again, and we'll take more questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
can a contestant be facilities chair?
Yes. Are you asking if they can be the same person?
Yes.
Yes, of course they can. The reason why I call it out as a separate role is because there's enough responsibility there that the contest chair is going to be pretty busy during the evening of the contest, that they might not have time to deal with facilities issues if they arise. So it's my recommendation to have a separate person, but of course that person can be the contest chair.
Yeah, my question was different. Can a contestant be facilities chair?
Oh,
because
yeah. Yeah, thank you for asking. The answer is a contestant can be any role except for a judge or a voting judge, a ballot counter, or a timer.
Yes, okay. You mean the formal functionaries that are in the book, except those, the other ones actually are made up, so they can be one of those roles, right?
That's right. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
They shouldn't be a contest chair either, I don't think, right?
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea. I don't think it's in the rule book that they can't be a contest chair, but it's generally not a good practice.
Yeah, okay.
So it doesn't seem like it should be a Toastmaster either.
I'm sorry?
No, I just said it doesn't seem like they should be a Toastmaster either, since they'd have to introduce themselves.
Oh, well, so a contestant cannot be a Toastmaster for a contest that they are competing in, but they can be a Toastmaster for the other contest. And I've seen that happen. It's not generally a good practice because it might give that person a bias to the judges because they have more exposure, but it's not disallowed.
Can they be a judge for the opposing contest?
Yes.
This is Rizwan Pasha. I have a quick question.
Yes.
What, as an area governor, I can't find a volunteer to chair the contest. So area governor would be a default chair for the contest?
This is a very common problem, especially for area governors who just started their role, like you, I'm sure. I had the same problem when I was an area governor. My fall contest, I was the chair. And yeah, you can certainly do your own chairing. But my recommendation if you do that is try to find a recruitment chair, because the person who's finding the volunteers for the roles, I have to say that's probably one of the hardest functions to do to plan a contest. And the contest chair is going to be really, really busy doing other coordinating things and probably doesn't have the time to locate the volunteers for the other roles. So if you want to chair it, then I strongly recommend you find someone to help do your recruitment.
Yeah, that is a challenge that I'm having.
Yeah, it's a common problem, and especially since you may or may not have already visited all your clubs, you probably don't even know who the people are in the various clubs. So when you go to the clubs, somebody gave me this advice when I was an area governor, and it still kind of sticks true. If you visit a club, look around the room and see who that person is who seems to have the most charisma in the room. And after the meeting, pull that person aside, get his phone number, get his email address, and that's the person you want to reach out to for helping to get volunteers. Because even if they don't have the ability to volunteer because they're not available or whatever, they can get you in touch with people in their club and they can help you recruit people from that club.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kurt, I have got a question. So when you're approaching someone like other members in a club, can we tell them that they will get the credit in their CL manuals, whether they get the credit? That's my question actually, in CL manual, if they are volunteering for the contest.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, anybody who does planning for a contest. Now the CL manual, I think, refers to a club contest, but you absolutely can give them credit if they work and do planning for an area or a division contest as well.
So, for example, contest chair can get a credit in CL manual, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay. So that could be the point to sell them the idea. Hey, would you like to be contest chair? Yeah.
Exactly. That's one of the selling points. Yes.
Yeah.
And you should exploit that.
I have researched that question with Toastmasters International, and the answer was no. So we cannot actually count the area and division contest roles for the CL manual because the CL manual is designed to help the club level contest.
Oh, okay. That's
okay.
new to me. I've done it. I've given people credit for it, and I probably received credit for it myself.
Yes.
Yes,
I
understand.
I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to contradict what you heard from the Toastmasters International. If they say that, that's fine. I think that's probably a fairly common practice, though.
That's right. There are rules, and then there's the way we do things.
Well, yeah, that part is up to you, but, if you want to follow the rules don't actually allow to count it for the CL. So, just so you know.
Thank you for calling that out. I didn't know that.
Sure.
Good enough.
I have a point here, too. This is David again. First off, I really appreciate the information that I'm getting here. I only wish I got it like a month ago, because my contest is scheduled for like less than 2 weeks away. And there's already some things that I see that I probably haven't done properly. One of which was to get judges who don't have the 6 speech requirements, and I'm going to have to clean that up. So I'm a little bit frustrated about that. I wish I had gotten this information much sooner.
Yeah. Again, this is. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm aware that timing of these types of events are important. I've given this seminar, or not seminar, but I've given it as a interactive workshop before, and so things do change over time. But it's a timing problem, and I'm sorry that you didn't have this information sooner. But hopefully, what you're learning tonight can help you improve what you've already got going.
Well, I mean, I think what I'm getting at is that I come into this role completely virgin. I didn't know anything about being an area governor, and the amount of work required is like about 10 times more than anybody warned me about. And so the thing is, I basically come in with no background, no training, no mentoring, and I'm trying to do the best I can, and I'm just saying that we need to do something to get people trained into this role. This is not something that people should just step into because they think it's a cool thing to do.
Yeah,
I think people need to know what they're getting into. So, and what that means is, we at the end of June we had one big conference and a whole bunch of trainings, and then I'm being told, hey, get your contest going, and I'm thinking, holy shit, contest, yeah, I better think about that. And it's just one thing after another without any preparation. I'm frustrated by that, and I'd like to see more of this kind of information being sent out. That's what I'm asking for.
Okay, here is Deep. I'm PRO, and I will make sure that I will have these kind of webinars regularly before time, and it will be specific to area governors and division governors, specifically to area governors because you are new and starting onto the role. So I will take the blame right now that we are a little late, but I came up with this idea, and I think it is successful. We have more than 25 people on the webinar. So I will do it regularly, and I will do it way before when the events are or whenever there is a need. So I will provide you that information. Yep. Yeah, I will do that. Thank you so much for the information. Kurt, we have only 6 minutes left. Please, if possible, let's complete it, and then we will take the Q&A at the end, so that if people want to leave, they can leave. Yeah.
Absolutely, and thank you for that comment as well. I'll have if you want to later, I'll have a comment for that.
Sure.
All right, I'm going to go back on mute for a second, or block. right, so we just got a couple more slides left. Let's talk about execution on the day of the contest, the start times. It's important that you stick to the schedule that you've published. If you have said the contest starts at 6:30, then darn it, you better start it at 6:30. I can't tell you how many contests I've been to where it's been and as many as 40, 45 minutes after the start time before the contest even starts. People are running around trying to find the contestants and the judges and doing the briefings. That all needs to be built into your plan before you publish the start time. And so my recommendation is when you publish your contest information, you say things like, the contest is going to start at 6:30 sharp. Contestants must be briefed at 6:15, whatever, and make sure that they know what the expectations are. Food will be available at 6, that sort of thing. So it's important because when you talk about people who come late, which there always is, sometimes there's traffic problems, some people just don't know how to budget their time, but you are going to have people that show up late, and you need to have a plan for what you're going to do with those people. If the contestants miss the briefing, what are you going to do? Are you going to let them continue to compete if the contest hasn't started, or are you going to tell them, I'm sorry, you're disqualified? Either way is okay, but you have to be consistent, and it has to be clear to the chief judge what that rule will be. My personal recommendation is if the person isn't there for the briefing, then they probably shouldn't compete. And as long as you're clear about that in all of the publication information, it's going to be hard for them to say anything against that. If a judge comes in late and misses the briefing, I think there's a little more leeway there. Most judges probably have had judging experience before, and they probably know what they are and aren't supposed to do. If they've been an experienced judge in the past, I would say it's probably okay for them to miss the briefing as long as they acknowledge what they need to do, what their role is. Especially at the division level, they like to do skits to promote the district conference. I know this is a popular thing. I personally hate them. I don't think skits are a very good use of the time. They're supposed to be funny, but they typically aren't. This is my opinion. I recommend not to do them, but if you have to do them, then just keep them as short as possible. And let's talk really quick about handing out certificates. The general rule of thumb is right before you announce the winners, you hand out just certificates for the Toastmaster, the Chief Judge. That's it. Don't give out all the certificates. Nobody wants to sit there and wait for another 5 or 10 minutes while you're handing out certificates to ballot counters and food share and that sort of thing. So you should have those certificates available. Lay them out on a table at the back of the room and tell people, please pick up your certificate at the back. And as far as the financials go, this is something that's really critical, especially, I'm sure you've gotten the training on this as well. Make sure that you're accountable for all of the money that you've collected, and that you can justify the number of people that attended and what each person paid and what the receipts are and all that sort of thing for the costs of food and other things that you've collected. So my last slide here is the resources that I promised you. I think Deep will be publishing this as well, but if you see the Google Drive, the second link there, this is where I have this information that you're looking at today. I also have a spreadsheet that helps you plan the roles, and there's a spreadsheet up there to help plan the budget. And also, of course, if you're still having trouble finding resources, reach out to your division governor as well. The first link there is just the list on the D4TM website where you can find all the contest materials. Zip file that includes all of the contest forms, the rule book, and the script as well. All right, I'm going to unmute and we can wrap it up with any.
Well. Hi, Kurt. This is Aubrey in San Francisco. I just wanted to share a best practice that I have found really helpful in time management, and that is to have multiple people doing the briefings. At least 2, 3 is even better if you can get a third person. But have one person brief the contestants, one person brief the judges, and if you have a third person, have them brief the functionaries. But if you can only get 2, have one person do the judges and functionaries.
That's a good point. Generally, that's the way it's done anyway, because the chief judge is typically the person who briefs the judges and the functionaries, and the Toastmaster is the person who briefs the contestants. Good point. Yes, but you're right. It's very helpful. Any other questions?
I have. I just wanted to make a comment. This is Samia. Kurt, thank you. Kurt and Deep, thank you very much for putting this seminar together. It was very helpful, and I like to second the comments that I heard earlier. I think it would have been very, very helpful, or would be in the future to be very helpful, if we could have the club attend a similar seminar, so that people could be trained from the bottom up. Had we done this and had the seminars on how to put a contest at the club level first, then we would be more equipped to put it together at the area contest. So it would be great if you could think about this, especially for next year.
Yeah, great suggestion actually. But thing is, we never used to do webinars before, so this is a brand new idea from PR Factory. So I'm definitely gonna increase the number, maybe more than 1 in a month, and all the things like how to perform, say, Toastmaster role or president role or contest and all those ideas. Actually, so just reach out to me at pro@d4tm.org and send me the ideas, and I will have the webinar. That is my promise to you.
That's excellent, and I think this is a really great addition you're providing to us. So I love it, and I just hope to see more of those.
Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you. Any final questions?
Any other questions?
Kurt, may we have another question?
Yes.
Hi, this is Mariam from San Francisco. Could you please put that second link up again, or how can I access that? Unfortunately, I missed your beginning of your five or so minutes, so I'm not sure if these slides will be available, and if they are, where. If you could just repeat that, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, can you see it now? Can you see the link now?
Thank you.
Yep.
So, question, Kurt. So, all the material, including your presentation, is available at tinyURL?
That's right.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
And actually, I'll just go ahead and push this slide, this PowerPoint up there too after this call.
Okay.
If anybody needs it, it's the same thing as on. There's a Word document up there that's got all of this information and some additional stuff as well.
Sure.
Okay.
And I will make sure that the video is available too. So Kurt, before you will hang up, please make me the presenter whenever we are done, and so that I will make sure that the recording is going on.
I will do that right now.
Great.
Done.
That's great. Thank you so much. So it was a great session. Thanks. Specifically, I would say, Kurt, thank you so much, and everyone who dialed in. And it was a great strength, more than 25 people. I'm more than happy. And thank you so much for coming. For any questions, reach out to me at pro@d4tm.org. And anyways, I will be sending you an email with all these links and presentation and handouts, including video. Thank you so much for dialing in. Have a great time, everyone.